Greetings, everyone. Hi, this is R.D.G. Today I'm going to be reviewing the most beautiful, the Transformers Kingdom's Airazor, the bird girl herself. And of course, I kind of, straight out of the point, I actually want to say about her face, because it looks like Velvet Beauregard from Charlie and Willy Wonka of the Chocolate Factory. I I don't know, it's just, okay, well, I'll get to that part later. Right now, let's take a look at Airazor's box art. Amazing, amazing. Let's see, we can even get to see the maximal symbol on the head of the eagle. No, wait, the hawk. Fuck. Yeah, of course, it's a deluxe class box art in the. Let's see, right here. I can actually understand that this would be the retool. Well, yeah, just a retool of Terrorsaur. So, without further ado, we shall get to the lady, shall we? So here we got Airazor right here. And of course, if we take a closer look at Airazor's paint sculpting pupils, yeah, they don't look right. Yeah, I guess they don't look right. And the skin tone, well, the skin plating on Airazor's face, yeah, looks too Megatron, unless it's a spy. But no, it's just Ares. It's just a massive paint sculpt. But oh yeah, you get to see a bit of a maximal symbol right here on her forearm. Everything else looks stunning. But of course, in every Kingdom's figure, you need accessories. So there's some accessories included. There's always card. This one with Megatron in it. Obviously, this. Oops. Let's take a look. Obviously, we get to see bits of the Decepticons. Soundwave, Starscream, and of course Megatron. But of course, that's just Kingdom's accessories for every Kingdom's line. However, Airazor's weapons right here, obviously in the cartoon, that wasn't meant to happen. But of course, if you remember, Airazor's signature cannon or arm, of course, you just have to plug them in to her forearms like so. Oh, yeah. And then you have to plug them both in like this. And then, okay, here we go. The painting and the sculpting on Airazor looks very nice. Very Beast Wars accurate to the cartoon. However, there is some minor flaws to this figure. Okay, so basically, obviously in the Kingdom line, they try to at least recreate the modernized, let's just say modernized retro shows. Like, of course, Airazor, they try to at least make her cartoon accurate to, well, to her Beast Wars cartoon. And rest in peace, Pauline Newstone. Of course, she was the voice of Airazor, but also the voice of another specific character, yes. Or Revenge. Yeah, it's, yeah, you already know who it is. So, of course, they try to give this version of Airazor a bit of a feather texture. Of course, you can see in the shoulders. Shoulders a bit, lots of feathers. I mean, like, as long as we try to ignore the eyes and the face, everything else seems very, very, very nice, actually. And of course, if you haven't seen my previous review, Terrorsaur, link will also be in the description. I would like to also mention that as I said back then, that this figure is a retool, like I said, a retool of Airazor, and this is the original Airazor right here. And I also like to mention that they have also Kingdom. No, I meant the Studio Series Rise of the Beast Airazor. Yeah, that's the one I was looking for. So I just need at least that figure to compare these two with, and not to mention, I also kind of want to see how this Airazor compares to the live action Airazor. Because we never seen, in the movies, we never seen that Airazor from Rise of the Beast transform. And it's a damn shame that, it's a shame that we never got a chance to see it. It's utterly a disappointing moment. And I'm not saying it's a bad movie of Rise of the Beast. It's a great movie. I'm just saying it's a shame that we never got to see Airazor transform, or even we never got a chance to see what Airazor would be like in robot mode, or even live a bit long enough to be there with her Maximals to to fight alongside with them and the Autobots against Unicron. But for the Kingdoms line, I'm glad that they have every Maximal survive. All except Dinobot. Rest in peace, buddy. Rest in peace. Damn. I feel like... But, surprisingly, Airazor and Tigertron were both reborn to become Tigerhawk. And of course, Airazor and Tigertron also have a relationship. Although the Chinese subtitle dubbed... it's kind of weird. It's kind of weird to begin with. I don't know why they would choose a male actor to play a female character, but I don't know. But but the only thing you could do with, you can actually extend the wings and make her look like a brown angel with a with a falcon look of an expression, and a bit of a bird-like feet as well. Of course, it could have at least some dry brushing on it, give the brown a bit of a shine texture, and if possibly add a bit of a brighter brown, make it look like the actual feathers, make it look like it's actual animal parts on a Cybertronian. Man, I don't know. I don't know anymore. So at this point, everything just yikes. Man, yikes. I don't know. It's just I feel bad. It don't feel bad, but if we take like I said, and this, as long as you don't mind the scratches on her head, everything else looks fairly nice. Fairly nice, except the back. I mean, like, I guess this is kind of what I expected from the back. But if everything else is not, like, sculpt painted like that, then it makes it look ugly. In my opinion. It's just how it is. I don't know. I have no clue, because this part of Airazor, if you move the hand like this, it feels a little skinny. Like right here in between. But I'm just gonna try to ignore that as much as possible, since... Okay, no, that was a bit of the tail feathers. But I'm just gonna ignore that. But I kind of like bits of the details on Airazor's, robot mode. Like, of course, they got the orange, all the paintings kind of right for Airazor. Mostly parts from the robot mode, from the arms, the legs, the body, everything. Just wish they did the same for the face. I don't know why they had to make it Megatron looking, with the pupils looking a bit dumb. Yeah. I do not know why. The feet, however, feels like happy feet all of a sudden. Oh boy. Let's just say I don't know what to say for Airazor, at the moment. Except for the posability. So, of course, for the posability, Airazor can swivel her head like this, where she can look down and look up that well. She can hinge join her hand and her arm, but yeah, that does not look well at the moment, because you can extend her arm, but of course you can need to hinge joint back the shoulder pad, because it tends to go along with her. Waist swivel, I take a kick like that. Ooh, wow. Can't kick back like that far, but it's because of the tail feathers right here that are in the way. And then the beautiful spread. Oh, very, very amazing spread. But of course, we need to cover this up because that does not count. But my god, I've never seen anything like this. But I think it's part of the transformation, I believe. But I also forgot that you can swivel her arm like that to wave. Tap swivel like that with a hint take a knee, which is very, very amazing. And then a very decent, well, a very non noticeable pivot because even though this is a ball joint and this is supposed to keep straight because that's part of the transformation, but it's a pain in the ass moment. So for the posability for Airazor, it is fairly good, but yet also kind of bad at the same time. I mean, the posability for Airazor, I mean, like, I can understand some sacrifices will have to be made, some things will have to be forced to make this figure look amazing. I mean, like, who does not want to at least grab this and feel her chest fluff? But no. Nope. No, no, no. She's a bird, and yet I've known, and yet I began watching Justice League, the animated series, and somehow it reminded me of Shire Hawkgirl. So, do not take this from me. But then let me bring back the ruler for some size comparison. So for size comparison, I have Rat Trap and Dracodon, another fossilizer who is also a flyer, Wingfinger, and another fossilizer who is also one of Airazor's stasis pod mates, Transmutate. And then we also have the Maximal who's just saved Airazor's life, Rhinox in the show, and then finally her spark mate for the Maximals, Tigertron. So we'll just go straight up for the Predacons. So first we got the Predacon Fossilizer Trio, Vertebrate, Rectonite, and Paleotrex. The Cheetor Impersonator, Shadow Panther. The her Predacon counterpart, Black Arachnia. The other Predacon flyers, Waspinator and Terrorsaur, the Royal Second in Command, Scorponok, and finally, Megatron. Yes. So, that will be it for Airazor's Beast mode. Well, no. Cybertronium mode. And we're gonna go to Beast mode. So, here is Airazor's instructions as per usual with the kingdom line and all. So we shall begin with the transformation. I will be back as soon as I'm finished. And here we got Airazor in her Falcon or Eagle mode. I mean, like, I really like this version of Airazor, but like I said, with Terrorsaur, link will also be in the description that I mentioned. Their transformations are basically identical, especially since her first debuted she was fighting Airazor. I mean, like, he was fighting Airazor, and she was fighting Terrorsaur, so... yeah, so I guess that kind of makes sense with the transformations and all. But, if we're going to weapons accessory, we got back her blasters. Of course, if we put it on her thighs, ooh. Of course, we're just gonna attach these to her, and boom. To be honest, it kind of looks better than Terrorsaur's weapon storage. Because I gotta be honest though, it makes it look like she is going supersonic speed with those rockets exposing her ass. Okay, that is something. Ugh. And of course, like for Airazor's, like her posability, it's different compared to it. Since of course, she can bend her neck like this, obviously to observe, look up, side to side. Of course, no left to right thing. Her wings obviously flap in many possibilities, like this, and pretty much this. So, man, it's a lots of possibilities to cover. Especially And now you can actually recreate her dive bomb looking mo. And I gotta say though, the posability, let's just say, even in beast modes, every posability has one little problem. And that's basically her beak. And let's just say, it's not about the beak. Of course, I have to at least like, man, it's gonna be a pain in the ass, but if you can tell right here, if you push it down without breaking it or separating it, you can actually open her beak like that. And I gotta say though, this beak looks amazing though, and man, it's a bit of a pain in the ass, especially if you're trying to make her talk. Yeah, it's gotta be a pain just to get her to talk, especially when you open and close her beak. I mean, like for, Rise of the Beast Airazor, which I don't have still. Let's just say I just hope that Airazor has a better beak maneuverability than the Kingdoms. Oh man, it's a painful process. It is, but it is worth to complete the Maximals, especially after taking a break from the Predacons. Oh man, let's just say it's gonna be a handful situation. But I also want to mention that Airazor's, let's just say a Falcon and Eagle mode kind of represents the cartoon aesthetics. Yeah, I don't know. But if we compare it to the Rise of the Beast, let's just say, I mean, I couldn't see the realistic version of it. I mean, like, they try to get the cartoon essence of it into the modernized version of it. I mean, they brought her in the Kingdom line after years out of not being here since Beast Wars. Yeah, I guess it kind of makes sense. So, oh, considering the paint, it needs to be I guess they need a bit of a sculpting, a bit, to give it a bit more real aesthetic color, to make it look like real feathers instead of plastic. Of course, the eyes, however, let's just say, it looks a bit weird. Although on this side, the screw, you can actually see the screw. It's weird. But other than that, I guess everything looks a bit realistically animalistic. I mean, I'm trying to at least give a bit of a fair advantage with this. So, we're just gonna final this off with a bit of size comparison, because the wingspan on one hand, yeah, wow, it is very big. And she, of course, is short for a bird girl like her. Unlike Hawk Girl. So, of course, here we got Airazor with all of the Predacons. And we have Airazor with every other Maximals. It seems that the Maximals have grown a bit more. And this will be it for, well, for Airazor. And that is it for Airazor. So, I know that this is basically the last video of 2025, because of course this is the last, well, by last video I mean like the last toy review of this year. Yeah, so man, it's been so long and yet we finally did it. 1,500 subscribers. That is insane. That is insane, and I cannot believe we've made it this far. I am so thankful to make it this far. So I hope you guys like this video, subscribe, comment down below. Do not forget to ring the bell for notifications. Do not forget to share. And, well, I consider this is the end for 2025. And, yeah, I know, it's like in the same day. So, yes. So, this, let's just say this is it for 2025. So, this is R.D.G. And this is my final transmission for this year.